All right, everyone. Thanks for listening to us talk to each other for the last 5 minutes. Welcome to Can I Show You Something Are.na. Let's just dive right in. Hello again. Feel free to get yourself acclimated in the chat there and make some new friends. We're really excited to see everyone call in, and we appreciate you sharing your time with us. We hope it's valuable and fun, all of the good things. But I am Bianca Smith. You may see Beth and Tim and Nick in the chat tonight or in Slack if you join us there. Beth is calling in from Pilsen, and she's currently a designer at Landscape. Tim is an art director and photographer calling in from Pilsen as well. Nick is a designer at a studio called One Design, calling in from the Logan area, and I'm a writer at One Design, calling in from Ravenswood. So I think you should be able to see us. But
yeah, we're all from Chicago.
Yes, neighborhoods in Chicago. Apologies.
Yeah.
But we wanted to give you just a quick run of show for what you can expect from the next hour and a half. I'll give you a little primer on Distant as well as the event series. You're going to hear from 4 of our community members, and then you're going to have a chance to ask them questions live about what they shared. So if you have any questions throughout, or if something's super exciting to you and you just want to say so, feel free to light up the chat. We'll be tracking everything for the end of the presentation. But kind of as always, I think we're pretty acclimated as a group of 60 to Zoom these days, but just remember to be courteous, keep yourself muted, and respectful when you're talking with other people in the chat. So let me give you a quick primer on Distant. So first and foremost, Distant is a Slack community composed of a diverse set of makers, artists, and creatives, industry, years of experience, point of view, and career ambitions considered. But it's a space where people can learn from each other and learn with others, find new potential collaborators, develop friends to lean on, all possible while we can't connect in real life now and whenever that remains true in the future. But since the summer of last year, we've been growing and learning together, starting with a bunch of voice memos that Beth and I sent each other on Instagram when we both felt like we had all of these makers we admired, but little access to build meaningful relationships with them. So we started inviting folks into the fold last January. Those folks nominated others to join. We exited beta in November, and today we have exactly 100 members in Slack, which is super exciting and fun. So if you're curious about what we've been chatting about and how to join, we'll be sharing a handful of links with you all in chat at the end of the event, so hang tight. But moving right along, let's talk about tonight. So I'm gonna have Beth talk about this event series that we're starting with tonight's event, as well as tonight's topic.
Yeah, thanks, Bianca, for introing us. Really excited about this new venture that Distant is going on in these programs. That's been something that's been on our to-do wish list since we started Distant. So this first program, Can I Show You Something, was born out of the excitement of showing people how to use a software or a feature of basically anything. We could see this growing to even just like show and tell, we've joked about, because it is so broad, but it's a quarterly showcase of unique ways that the Distant community members utilize specific digital tools. It is simultaneously micro and macro of like views of different platforms, for example, Are.na, which is what we're starting out with tonight. But we could see this being for Notion, Google Docs, and much more. Each installment invites us to take inventory of how a handful of different creatives' perspectives and practices shape the ways they interact with various virtual spaces. Because Distant is made up of a very wide, most loosely use of the word creative, it's really cool to have a space where there's copywriters, UX, artists, that kind of thing. So for tonight, we are starting off with Are.na, our inaugural event. Are.na is a place to save content, create collections over time, and connect ideas privately or with other people. Whether you consider yourself a pro or you've never heard or explored the tool before, we have 4 different distant members that are going to walk each of us through different ways that they use this platform. I'll do a little bit of briefing about what Are.na has to offer and what it is. We have a lot of people from Are.na joining us tonight. So that's really fun to kind of see the merging of our community and the merging of Are.na's community. Going to the next slide, I've kind of pulled a couple shots from called a channel. Channels are, if you're familiar with like Pinterest, they're a board, a place to create and collect things. So these are pulled from a channel called How Do You Describe Are.na at a Party? And it was one of the first channels that I stumbled upon while I was hopping onto Are.na. So it's the good internet. It's like a mind map. I really love this metaphor. I use it like a big table that you can lay out a bunch of things on and look at them. You can save photos, text, links, what have you. I won't get too far into it since I'm going to pass it off to the speakers who have prepared their own presentation. Where we brought this prompt to them very like open-ended, whether they're going to show us a favorite channel or how they use it or how they think others should use it. Let's jump into the speaker presentations. I'm gonna bop for one more. Yeah, let's go right here. So our Are.na guides tonight, we'll start with Tim Finch, who is another admin here at Distant, Carolyn, Jason, and Lauren. We'll do some intros before they begin to talk. So let's first chat about Tim Finch. He's an art director, photographer, and creative director based in Chicago, currently in Pilsen. Spends most of his time at Future Use Studio or in some internet rabbit hole. And apparently he's the founding member of the James Blake fan club. That is Tim's intro. So without further ado, I'll pass it off to Tim.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen. I do not need to share this. Okay, can everybody see?
Can do.
Perfect. So like Beth said, I'm Tim. I'm an admin here at Distant. This has been a fun venture we've been on for like the past year, to be honest. Like it's been a lot of learning and just like sharing of things that I think we all pretty much get excited about on a daily basis. I'm excited particularly about programming because it's a way for us to kind of connect and share some things that I think we don't necessarily have too much fun talk about in public. I think when it comes to like creativity or jobs or whatever it is, I feel like it can kind of be almost siloed a little bit, and it might be hard to get the information that you want like in a clear way. And I think Distant is a way we can break down some of those barriers. So we're here to talk about Are.na. I'm Tim Finch on Are.na. I've been using Are.na for about, I want to say the past 4 years now. I started using it in 2018, I believe. I honestly started using it because I think I saw somebody retweet something, and it was a platform. And I had been using other things. I'd been using like Save It, if you're familiar, or I never really used Pinterest until recently, funnily enough, because I can't figure it out for the life of me. But and it was interesting because I saw people not just saving imagery, but I saw people sharing text and resources and things of that nature, which was just a different way of thinking about the internet. I'm 25, like I'm an internet kid, like that's all I do. Like the base, like the kind of cable box to my life is pretty much like a web browser. So I definitely love Arena because it's kind of a culmination of like the best of those things, and it very much lives within that. So with that being said, honestly, like Arena is my homepage. So like when I first open my browser, like Arena is the first thing I see, um, which is really interesting because I think it plays less of a dedicated like purpose in my life. Like I use Arena to it. I will get on the internet like first thing in the morning, and I'll kind of just scroll and scroll through Arena. It's been a good practice to kind of just like not only look for things, but also to kind of level set my day and like see how much newness I can find in a day. Um, I think the cool thing about Arena is finding different ways to kind of one, categorize things, log them, but also I've been trying to figure out how I can expand from just on this platform into outside. About 2 years ago, I want to say, I started this channel called Interior. And it was basically, I was living at home still, and I was like, okay, like I want to move out. And it was as simple as just wanting to like find all the things that I loved about a home and like kind of building that dream house. I don't know if anybody's played The Sims. I'm sure a lot of you have, but like I would go and like build the house I wanted to live in. But this was a way for me to kind of pull all those images and put them in one place. And then I started sharing them on Twitter. And it was kind of the first like experience I had of like making a collection, like doing a deep study. It turned from like, oh, the furniture I love into how do people interact with spaces? How do people in different countries and different walks of life interact with these spaces as well? I think that's kind of a first touch point of like figuring out how I can get from this thing that started off as just a platform for me into a way that I can study outside of school and beyond an academic arena. I pretty much like live within the extension. I spend most of my time like outside of arena. Like I'll use the Safari extension, I'll just be on Dwell or whatever else. I'll kind of just use the extension, right click and share it. And I think it's interesting to kind of do that for like a whole week and then pop onto the actual site and just look at everything that's being saved. Sometimes I'll get on Arena and see people say like just like in a span of time, you'll just see like 500 images pop up. And part of me is like, that's super interesting. And like, how are you getting all these things? Like, as a bot, but also just like kind of seeing how I feel about images or articles or text or whatever, and just kind of being in a space to where I can catalog it and go back to it later. But also sometimes I put my own things on Arena. I was super against this at first. I don't know why. But I think it was a way for me to kind of come back to some things I've made. I started this project called In an Instant. It's basically about instant film. And I would take photos on my film camera, and I built this Polaroid back for it. And I have this FP100C back for it, but I would shoot photos and get a desired look, but then forget about how I made that image. So I made this channel literally just to log something, put in my settings over here, and be able to come back to this in the future. And it's interesting because like I definitely didn't view this as a way for me to actually use it as a practice that would benefit the work I make. I originally just used it as a way to look at other work to get inspiration to help with art direction. But this kind of changed like how I use this platform to aid me in a way that isn't just saving an image. I, to cut this very short, among the last year went through kind of a little crisis like creatively, and was wondering how to get to a place to where I'm making things that I truly want to make. I'm an art director and make a lot of content, whether it be social content or whatever. It's a lot of commercial work. And I think sometimes you get lost in trying to create images that kind of just fit the brief, which is amazing. And it's something that I love doing. But I started finding out that I didn't necessarily have too many ideas like on my own. And I think over the last year or so, I've been using Are.na in a pretty weird way. I don't think over the last year, if you've looked at my history, I haven't really saved too much, what I'll do is kind of get on and scroll endlessly and click and scroll and click some more until I find something that I haven't seen before. And then I'll sit with it and then I'll just exit out of my browser. Like I don't save it or anything. And it comes back to this phrase I've been telling myself, if it is lost, it can be found. And I think it's super important because it taught me that this is a practice and that discovery can be active and inactive at the same time. Like you can really push yourself to find things, or you can kind of just float across and things will be presented to you. And I think both of those are really beautiful. So lately I've been just coasting and finding things and then letting them go and then finding things again. So honestly, like Are.na has been really helpful for me in my journey, whether it be career wise or just like as a lifestyle practice. It's been really amazing. That's really all I have to say. I'm gonna pass it back to Beth, but those are some things I love about Are.na.
Thanks, Tim.
Wait, B, were you gonna share your screen?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, we're passing right on to Carolyn. So actually, Carolyn, do you want to give that a share?
Yeah,
I can do
let's
that.
just do that.
Why not?
Okay, cool. While you're setting that up, I can intro you. Carolyn is a designer, writer, and morning person living in New York. She's currently making, oh, when you screen shared, I lost my words. She's currently building brands in service of social good landscape. And in her free time, she enjoys reading books, arranging flowers, and making lists.
Cool. Thanks, Beth.
You're
Hi,
welcome.
I'm Carolyn or Marie. I work with Beth at a design studio called Landscape. And I'm a copywriter and a strategist there. And I live in Brooklyn and I use Are.na. This quote is by Arthur C. Clarke. He's a really fascinating writer and he cares a lot about aliens. And one time he said this and it felt like a good place to start. But I started using Are.na when I was a student, which was a couple months ago. But I was studying graphic design. So I was using Are.na to collect images, art and color and typography, which was a really helpful way to get to know the platform, but also just one way to use it. And it was always kind of a taking. I think like Tim said, I was never putting any of my work on Are.na or contributing to it in that way. But I think that it becomes very special or magic when you're kind of giving too. So that's what I started doing. So it looks, I guess I'll go back. It looks something like this. I tried thinking about it more like a library. My undergraduate thesis was about libraries. So they were top of mind at the time. This is one of my favorites. It's called the Stuttgart City Library in Germany. And I think libraries are very special because they do two things really well at once. They're kind of archival and preserve existing knowledge, but they also promote the creation of new knowledge. So if you think of a book or a block, in this case, as a kind of container for information, then a library can become kind of like a laboratory for creating new meaning. And this concept was actually explored by a physicist named Richard Feynman, who referred to it as triangulation. And so I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with this diagram, but it's illustrating the way that forgotten facts can be constructed from known facts. And that's the approach that I've tried to take with Are.na since then. So I don't know, I think it can be a very good starting place for ideas, but it also can be full circle. And a lot of the things that I think about live and die on Are.na, and I'm very comfortable with that. So yeah, I'll show you one of those things that I'm thinking about. Yeah, this channel is called Love Large in My Window, and I started working on it during the pandemic. I have OCD, and so I was having a particularly hard time. And during that time, I became very fixated on my windows because most days they were the only way that I felt comfortable interacting with the world. And it was very comforting to kind of have a place to, to put those thoughts together that didn't feel so precious. Sometimes I struggle with like written notebooks and things like that. And so I really appreciate Are.na because it feels very fixable. I can move things and delete things and add new things. It's not very static in that way. So I started collecting images and taking notes. I was thinking about things like perspective and performance and containers and stages. And yeah, it was very interesting. Some of the windows in my home at that time were very active and like changed a lot throughout the day. So it was interesting to watch and track them do that. And then others were very still and kind of felt more like a picture or a portrait that never moved. Yeah, so these are just thoughts. I started looking at art too and the way that windows are portrayed there, especially the relationship between windows and women, which was really interesting. And I started identifying obviously very closely with a lot of these women. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's cool to like let things just be ideas. I don't know. I think in college I felt very very pressured to like turn everything I came up with into a zine or something, or a PDF. I don't know. But a lot of my work just turns into channels. Most of them are private. I know Jason's going to fight me about that later. But I really enjoy using it. And as a writer too, most of my writing actually doesn't happen on Are.na. I use a software called Are.na, which is basically just like a markdown. But what I do like, especially about Are.na, is that it uses very similar like text styling and markdown tools. So I do write in Are.na sometimes, and it's like a very easy transition to make as a writer. But yeah, I think that's mostly it. I don't know. This channel goes on for a little bit, but I won't put you through it. I think I'll probably hand it back to whoever wants it.
Thank you so much for sharing, Carolyn.
Sure.
Truly. And just a reminder, folks, you can start thinking of questions that you want to ask our speakers and pop those in the chat. I definitely have questions for you, Carolyn. But we're going to just keep on moving on. So next up, we're going to have Jason walk us through his presentation. So Jason, if you want to share your screen, I'll tell people who you are.
Absolutely.
Jason is a designer and observer in Chicago. He's currently a product designer at Adobe, operating a small risograph studio called Counterpart and curating niche playlists. Go for it, Jason.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. I did not time this, so who knows, but I'm glad the other ones were short so far, but I'm going to try to fly through this anyway. I'm breaking a lot of cardinal rules here. This is not a beautiful 1920 by 1080 presentation in Keynote. This is a presentation in Are.na using blocks, and my entire script is the description of each of the blocks. So you will see the text that I'm saying approximately to the right of what you're seeing. Yeah, this is my talk about why you should go green on Are.na, and what I mean by that is that you should use green channels. I know there was a brief introduction to Are.na at the beginning. I didn't know that was going to be there, but here's my simplified version as well. On Are.na, there are channels. Channels are what you might think of as folders or boards to collect media. That media is known as blocks. Channels can be red, private, only visible by you; blue, publicly visible, but you are the only contributor or your collaborators. Or they can be green, which means that they are publicly visible and open for anyone on the website, any user to contribute to. And this presentation is about why I think you should try to make your channels green. Part one, Are.na is the real social. Taking those terms kind of out of context for a second, and pretending that these handful of mega corporations don't have a stranglehold on that terminology. And let's look at those words very literally, starting with social. Are.na is inherently friendly, or at least neutral, and I think that's by design. Let's talk about this interface that you're looking at right now. It is empty and clean. And when I first joined this website, I barely used it. I think I got on like once a week, you know, and I was just like, this is boring. And now that I'm older and wiser, I know that boring is fantastic. It's neutral. It is a quiet, sequestered corner in a busy city library just after sunrise. It is the perfectly clean subway tiled kitchen backdrop of your favorite chill cooking YouTube channel. And it is what you seek out of it and put into it and nothing else. It was already mentioned, but this is one of my favorite channels as well. How do you describe Are.na at a party? Note that it is green, meaning anyone can contribute to it. And a bunch of Are.na users contributed some very thoughtful, poetic, beautiful things like nicotine patches for the internet, which I think is hilarious and amazing. Also, there's going to be a lot more text here. You can pop in here later and read it on your own if you want. Like I said, I'm going to breeze through this. Part of what I think makes Are.na so nice is there's this kind of unsaid terminology and kind of interface stuff, like user experience stuff floating around too. Specifically with the word connect. This is kind of the primary action that you do on a website. You connect blocks to channels, and you connect channels to other channels. I think that this is poetic, sweet, gentle, and it describes like exactly what you're doing in this very literal way. You're connecting two things. Blocks are not duplicated, they're connected. You cannot technically delete unless you're the primary owner or unless you're the sole owner of a block. You only remove connection. The word delete does not appear on the website. And yeah, there's also kind of this quiet, you know, you've seen it in the chat probably. I imagine the chat's, you know, been popping off with some plus signs. That's kind of an Are.na colloquialism, I guess, for just I like this, and that's great. Here's a little image from Yatu that I found. Thank you, Yatu. I don't know if you're here or if you know about this at all, but thank you for taking this image with the Are.na sweatshirt on in the mirror. This is beautiful. Social point two, Are.na is not apolitical. And what I mean by that is that like a lot of the massive social media platforms try very hard to present themselves as apolitical with no opinions, and that all content is equal and like from everyone and all this stuff. I think Are.na does something completely different from that. They have a vision with like very plainly stated ethics that is on their about page. The kind of notion of how green channels work, I think, is inherently anti-individualist, which is great. They like created this for community, and their own presence outside of this space, I think, is very heartwarming. I think it is encouraging. Here's a post from last April, yeah, April 2020. Sorry, about cleaning up and just giving the users some ideas about how to clean up their channels and everything, and that's just great. Social number three, Are.na is not playing freaky magic tricks on your brain chemicals. There are no likes. This is great. What does a like do? It is a vanity sticker that you lazily tack onto content that you acknowledge, but have no reason to take meaningful action with. People on Are.na aren't posting, so why would we pile on hundreds of little attaboy pennies into their ego fountains? Let's use each other's contributions instead. Sharing and connecting is the inherent user function, and it is an active, engaged choice. Also try to find me any other website with thousands of active users that doesn't have advertisements somewhere. I'm not being snarky. I would love to find more websites like this. Going on to media, point number one on media is that all content is pretty equal. There's no content hierarchy. There are no verified users. Right now you're looking at a block. It's this kind of great equalizer. Blocks live in channels with equal weight, equal visual weight. I think that's pretty important. And you know, some people already mentioned you can track down PDFs, you can track down dope YouTube videos, poetry, pictures of flowers, whatever, and none of it is promoted or algorithm bubbled up to you. Are.na does not know you. You, like I said before, you kind of get what you put into it and what you take out of it. Media point two, all media is curated. So this is all user curated content. You can go to someone's profile and see how they've collected pieces of content and use that as, you know, your driver to collect content or inspiration or whatever. Yeah, I think this connections tab, obviously this is a private channel for now, but this connections tab, don't overlook this. This is a magical place. Point number 3 is that Content Arena has on shared ownership. I mentioned this before, but you can't really delete blocks. There are not really any dead ends on Arena. This piece here and the connected to tab on the actual channel are 2 little portals into, an expansive amount of paths to take. Yeah, because there are only connections. Those connections can open up to hundreds of other connections. And instead of this ultra linear kind of repetitive hellscape that is post and reply, and reply and reply and reply, there's a whole world to explore. And then I've prompted the question, is Are.na an MMORPG? And I think it is if you want it to be. Here's a technical diagram that I made about the difference between Are.na and other social media platforms that you may recognize from their color palettes. I think other social media platforms take a very top-down approach, right? There's an OP, there's an original poster, right? And then under that is threads, reply guys, quote retweets, upvotes, discourse, share, L plus bozo plus ratio, dunks, whatever it may be. And all of this stuff is top-down and it's very centric to the original poster. On Are.na, there are just blocks. There are users, of course, and profiles, and you can see all that stuff, but it's not the primary content and it's not what Are.na shows you by default. Are.na shows you blocks by default, and those blocks are connected to channels. You may put blocks into your own channels, and that is maybe a bottom up, action, but there's also an outward action. It's not Pinterest. I hear a lot of people can, when describing Are.na, and it's really helpful when you first get on Are.na to hear, they're like, oh, it's kind of like Pinterest. And that's fair, right? It's a place to collect media. You can, if you leave it at that, yeah, it's like Pinterest. But I'd like you to consider that there are no advertisements on this website and no algorithms on this website. And then Pinterest is a McDonald's ball pit of chaos garbage, and Are.na is a flourishing community garden. So yeah, on to that. Part 2, the next internet is a community garden, and you're already a member. Welcome, weary traveler. You can rest easy. You're safe now. You might have heard a lot of folks talking about how the new internet is coming up and it's going to cost some funny money to get in. Don't worry about all that. Let's just open up Are.na and be nice to each other. So why you should go green. Point number 1, the community of Are.na users is part of what makes this website so special. You should trust them to a reckless degree. And by reckless, I mean open up your content to everyone. If you leave your channels open, you never know who might see what you're doing and quietly contribute. This is magic. This is a beautiful phenomenon. I started this channel called Building Virtual Spaces a while back, a year ago, when I remembered the website Turntable FM. I don't know if you remember this. It looked like this. It was awesome. You DJ'd with your friends. It was so sick. And with a lot of talk coming up about virtual spaces, virtual physical spaces and things like that, I kind of wanted to think about how many of those have already existed, who's kind of pushing the boundaries on those things that are kind of open and accessible. So I started collecting some things. I added my friend Jonathan, who started adding some things and starting adding a lot more than I did because I fell off. So thank you for that. And then kind of out of nowhere, look at this. Benedict Henshaw, 7 months ago. I don't know that person. That person just added a block in this green channel. And it's a very cool website that's very useful to the topic. Let's see what else. There's a great Frank Chimero quote right here that Nikki Langin added 2 months ago. Amazing. I love that. This is the kind of thing that can happen if you make your channels green. All right, point number 2. This might be one of the only websites around that's not about you. You should enjoy the liberation that that fact gives you. Smash that explore button and see what happens. And under here it says live demo. We're going to see how this works out. I wanted to hit explore and just see what I got. Look at that. Actually, wait. Yeah, I love that. That's great. See, we're just getting great stuff. And look at all these channels it's connected to. Now I want to know what friend shape is. Maureen Mullen. Incredible. Look at this. Beautiful. This is what I want to see. This is all I want to see when I get on Are.na. And I just found it randomly. I just clicked explore live in front of you. I did not have this plan to pull up. And what's great is I actually have a channel that's relevant to this. So I'm going to connect to my Good Boys channel. And there we go. It's connected to Good Boys. Now you can see this guy in here with my little collection of cute things that, that person might connect to their thing. And it's already connected in some other channels. And this is kind of just this endless stepping stone effect that you can get just by being curious and exploring. And like I said, none of that was planned. I just found this and I love it. All right, point number 3, and my last point. A single block in a green channel can be a seed that grows into a beautiful garden that anyone can tend. And I want to leave you with this main sentiment that if you care about having a nice time on the internet, then you should use this website. And if it's overwhelming to start collecting something here, just do it anyway and make that channel green and see what happens. You don't have to make the perfect mood board, the perfect research collection and have it all figured out, because there's already thousands of users on this website that are doing it every day. And one day you might just get a gift from someone you don't know, and it might just make your day. And isn't that possibly at least marginally better for your brain than logging onto Twitter and seeing what SpaghettiOs posted for MLK Day? Thank you, and go green. I have a quick epilogue. Special thanks to Jonathan Splitlog for showing me Are.na in the first place, giving me the inspiration for this talk with this block from 10 months ago about how he was going to make his channels green, open up and embrace the chaos. This is kind of all based on that spark that he gave me. So thank you so much, Jonathan. Thank you, Vachikatep and Joss Wakamo, for the encouragement and the best egg content on Are.na. I'm not going to click this right now, but you can come in here and click it later, and I encourage you to do so. Thank you, Caleb Vandenboom, for the warm welcome to Chicago and inviting me to join Distant. And thank you, Beth, Bianca, Tim, and Nick for the trust and for hosting. And thank you to Are.na. And lastly, the final thing, I will go to my channel. I will edit it. And I will make it green, copy it, stop sharing, and post it in the chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jason. People are popping off for green. Enjoy reading through all the comments, Jason. It was amazing.
Pop off if you love green. Pop off in the chat if you love green channels.
Amazing. All right. So last but certainly not least, we have one more presentation from Lauren. So Lauren, if you want to start sharing your screen, I'll do a little brief intro. Lauren is a Chicago-based designer currently running her full-service studio, Something Else. Previously, she worked as the lead designer for Cards Against Humanity, as a senior designer at Barrier, and helped run Bad Press. Lauren, take it away.
Cool. The best part about going last is that everybody already said what you were going to say. So welcome to my Are.na speed run. We'll go through it pretty quickly. Oh, too fast. Okay, cool. I guess for context, as far as like why I have started using it, is that I've tried pretty much every online bookmarking website I could since middle school, I think. And how it's kind of all led me to the beautiful, amazing Are.na. So yeah, if you're not familiar, Delicious was like just a bookmarks bar, but online, so you can like log into it from any browser. Also RIP. It was great, ahead of its time maybe. And then Listography was just pre-Notes app. So it's become irrelevant, I guess. And then Pinterest, Jason kind of already summed up. I don't think I need to go any further into it. And then I threw in Instagram and Twitter just because it has the save feature. But again, that's only limited to the content there, and it's all visual usually. I still use my Tumblr pretty actively. I enjoy it a lot. But yeah, it's all viewing content in a very like linear fashion, and it lets you share other things that aren't just like photos, but that's such a small percentage of the content on there. And I think Reddit lets you save things too. I don't really use it that often, but Are.na has become #1 on my list for sure. Cool. So again, pretty much for all of the reasons we've all said, it's so helpful for saving things, collaborating with friends, colleagues, and strangers on anything on any topic you want. Yeah, connecting information and giving it all new context based on where it's being shared. And then building, I use the browser add-on a lot, like Tim said. It's amazing that it works so well. So many browser add-ons break all the time, and Arenas has never never done that for me. Cool. And then what was the other? I don't know. This is like this is what my profile looks like. I have this like naming convention that makes it easy to search for a board. So usually when I go on Are.na, it's to like look at a board after like saving things through the browser add-on. And then yeah, usually I'll scroll through the homepage and see what other people have posted, or go down a really like unexpected rabbit hole that I didn't even think about, and like learned something new. So it's been like very positive for both work reasons and also just like for fun reasons. It's the least stressful place on the internet. Cool. And then my final note, I mean, if I can throw in a Bernese Mountain Dog into a talk, I'll do it every time. But yeah, I think everyone kind of touched on this a little bit, but it is really like the only like website that's not performative really, or like ego driven. It's, oh yeah, like Jason said, it's so nice that you can't see any like likes or number of comments, and truly like I don't even have a gauge on how many users there are on Are.na, and I love that. It's, I mean, it's so like infinite in the number of rabbit holes you can go down, and like channels that you can click on that are connected to other blocks and etc. forever. It's so nice. I love it. None of the like types of infos, like it all has the same hierarchy. They're all in the same size block, PDF, text, image, video, GIFs play, which is nice. Pinterest can't do that. So yeah. I think that was really it.
That's sick. I wish we could just keep this picture of the dog the whole time. Thank you so much, Lauren. That was awesome. Short and sweet, just how we like it. So now if anybody logged on has questions, we want them asked. I think just for control's sake, if you have a question, if you could use that hand raise functionality in the React section, that'd be great. And Beth, Tim, and Nick can kind of call on folks as questions raise. We seen any questions pop up? I can't see because I'm sharing my screen.
I don't see any, but I know we have a couple in a Google Doc. Yeah, Sam, if you want it. Oh wait, so Joseph, my big Q, I keep trying to use Are.na. He says the wrong way, he thinks, which I disagree. Whenever I search for things, not a lot comes up, like 25 things typically. Does anyone want to cover that question or expand upon it?
I'm interested to see what Jason has to say.
Okay. Yeah, Joseph, I completely agree. I mentioned when I started using Are.na, I only hopped on like once a week, and I felt like it was boring and it wasn't like working for me. And it's part of what I was doing was searching too. Like I was trying to use the search function in the way that I might use it on Pinterest, right? Like I was throwing like generic kind of terms in, or like things that might be, I was using my Google brain, right? Of like, oh, I'm gonna throw in a word and the algorithm is gonna know me and is going to know what I want. And unfortunately, you know, that doesn't work out, right? I think what you get on Are.na is like a chronological series of postings that even contain the word or fragment of the word, right? So um, it's very linear and not very like helpful for you to search that way, unless you're looking for a specifically named attachment or something, which I recommend for people looking for PDFs. Hop in that search by block by attachment filter. It's great. But
Yeah.
to address that, I think don't search in that way. I mean, you know, searching is good, but don't do it for the reason of looking for something. I would say if you don't know where to start in the Explore tab, and kind of that the bit of the demo that I did is kind of the method that got me hooked a little bit, which is like clicking on something that I liked, or at least was close to what I wanted, and then looking in that connections piece on the bottom right once you have a block open, and seeing all the channels that that's connected to, especially clicking on green channels, because those probably have more channels connected to them too. And then doing a little bit of like Wikipedia rabbit hole jumping, like you would at like a bottom of a Wikipedia article, and just kind of clicking, opening new tabs. Typically when I'm using Are.na in a curious way, I probably have about like 10 or 15 tabs open, maybe more. And I would maybe encourage you to try that and see how it works out.
Yeah, I honestly, this is like interesting to talk about because haven't, I don't think I've searched on Are.na for like 2 years now. I think I remember getting on it and being like, oh, maybe I don't, like maybe this isn't how you're supposed to use this. And I exclusively, I don't even know if I'm even looking for anything anymore, which is super interesting to like say out loud, probably. Like I think I'm at the mercy of whatever people are adding, whatever blocks people are adding at the time. I remember being in college and like putting like PDFs of my textbooks in there and sharing them with people because like it was just like an easy way to like get stuff out. So yeah, I think that's a good point. Like I literally haven't searched in years, but I do think that's like something to say about like just letting things happen with an Are.na is like a nice way to experience it. I think if you can cross over into that like side of like experiencing it, it really helps, I would think.
Yeah, I want to like piggyback off that, even though I'm not a speaker, I am an Are.na user. Yeah, I used to use a search feature, but I want to say like, I'm like just adding on to what Tim and Jason have already said, but like I know my Are.na so well that like, I mean, this isn't helpful if you're just starting out, but like getting to a point where I'm saving things, just like if I like it or don't like it, or just like, I'm like, oh, this might be useful later on, I'll save that to a specific channel. And then I search that way. And then like from the connections, like it's kind of a different way to find something rather than a search bar. Yeah, I don't know if that made sense, but anyone else have anything to add? Otherwise, there's maybe a couple more questions that have been popped in here. Cool. I'm going to take that as next question. Leslie asks, how do you feel about commenting on Are.na? Does it feel more private? Wondering if there's a chance encounter that stuck with you. Which I can hop in first. No one has something off the bat because I saw the question and I was like, oh, Lauren has commented on something of mine.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I've left a couple. Honestly, I forget it's there 90% of the time.
I had no idea it was there until you did it.
I don't think anyone's ever commented on anything I've posted or shared. But it's like, it's nice. I guess it feels private in a way where it's like I'm responding to whatever someone posted versus like a block that's been through a few channels, you know. Yeah, that's my experience anyway.
Yeah, it's intimate in the sense that that's not what I think of when I think of Are.na. like opposed to a different social platform like Instagram, where it's like you're commenting a lot. I think it's really lovely when that happens. So. Anyone else?
I've never commented on anything. I sometimes forget it's there, but it is cool to like stumble upon a block and see comments and be like, whoa, like people exist. But like it's funny. I think like Are.na is like this thing where like people will follow me or I'll follow people, and like you know you do see sometimes you see the person's, I don't know if you see the person's like photo anymore or if you do, but I know their initials come up or whatever, and it's just, or it used to be predominantly that, and so I'd be like, okay, like this is just like this this internet person like surfing around, but it's like interesting to like see words come from people. Also, another thing I think that is like a lot less prominent is like descriptions of things, right? Like, because I'll rarely see people like, you know, type out a description for like the thing that they posted too. So it's like interesting things that like when they are there, like makes it really, really exciting. But I kind of want to start doing that a little bit more, along with like making more private channels with strangers, as someone was saying, or just like, you know, opening up my channels for people to be able to interact in. Like, I think honestly, like the goal is to like build community in like as many ways as you can. So yeah, it's interesting to think about.
I have a block that I really like in the How Do You Describe Are.na channel. Here's the block I'm posting in the chat. Like quietly sharing, oh, of course it's from, I forgot if that was from Jonathan. Thank you, Jonathan. Like quietly sharing a table at the library with strangers. And I love that because if you take that metaphor even further, I think commenting on Are.na is like noticing that someone sat down next to you with a book that you like, and then just being like, hey, I love that book. All right, I'll leave you to it. See you later. And it's just like a quiet whisper in that library. And I love that.
Yeah, like I like how Beth said it's very intimate. And I think because it's Are.na versus any other website, it's just such a wholesome community that I don't know. It's always like nice. It's never like it's nice and it's genuine too.
Yeah. If anyone's ever been on a channel walkthrough on Are.na, like Are.na hosts channel walkthroughs, I think that's part of, you have access because you pay and support. But everyone's so lovely, and it's a very different like energy and community that like I see in the comments that is also in those walkthroughs.
I think Greta asked, do you all use the free or premium versions? And Beth, you kind of just hit on a plus of a premium version, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Tim, what are you? You're a step up from me. You're a supporter and I'm premium. There's like tiers to it. Do you want to talk about that?
I'm a premium supporter. I know it has you get like access to new features. I'm not sure if it's like in a beta or whatever, but I honestly I just like support because like I love it so much. I'm trying to like spend money for things that I like really care about, especially like in the age of the internet where like anything can just be put anywhere and anybody can use it. Not that that's a bad thing, but I know there's like, it just feels nice to be able to like put money towards something you believe in. You get like, I think you get biannual reports, like company reports, I believe. And yeah, I think even like one of the like the little notes next to like under the supporting tiers, it's like you get like, I think one of the explanations is like you get like a fuzzy feeling for like supporting a thing you love. But yeah, I know that premium has like some other things. I think you can hide from search engines and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. I think if you're free, you get like 200 blocks or something like that.
Yeah.
which is not to like discourage you from like using free, because like, to be honest, like you can do a lot with 200 blocks, but it's nice to have like the freedom to just keep endlessly, discovering. But yeah, I am a premium supporter. I don't know what everybody else is, but it's interesting.
Yeah, I'm also a supporter. Highly recommend it if you use this a lot and love the platform. That's like the main reason
Yeah.
I became a supporter, is just because I love it and want to support it. There's some great perks as well, but it's mostly just about, hey, I love this platform. I want to give more than the little bit that I already was giving.
Yeah.
Lovely. Oh,
So there's one more question, Bianca, and then do we want to close?
that sounds good. Let's ask Sam's.
Alrighty. Did you discover Are.na on your own or from someone you know? If the latter, do a lot of people you know in real life use it? I feel like you can just. This is a simple question. I'll start. I learned about it from Tim. I don't know if a lot of people use it, but I think the more that I've known about it, the more people that I've like kind of gotten on it or have become interested in it. Okay, that's my answer.
Yeah,
Next.
I want to say I found a tweet one day from someone I don't know, but yeah, since I've been using it, I've been like yelling at everybody about it. Like I feel like I do that with everything. Like I do it with Notion, I do it with Are.na, but like I like will find something because I just dig through the internet and then I just yell at everybody about using it, and then like 3 years later they use it, which is amazing. I just like, I don't know. I love like being able to be on. I love just the interaction of going somewhere and having something in common with someone. So if I can like do that with literally everything in my life, like I have like a touch point with a new person. So in my everyday life, I think, yeah, like I share studio space with like a lot of people on this call actually. I used to share studio space with Lauren, and like I don't know, we all would kind of just be like sitting on our computers on Are.na at the same time, but like ironically, like we're working and like doing other things, or like it's just a part of our everyday life, so it's just really funny. But yeah, I think I'm starting to like know a lot of people who use it pretty actively.
Yeah, I had a friend a few years ago send me like a channel for sci-fi UI UX stuff, and he was like, just look, this stuff's cool, someone made a collection of it. And then from there, just like clicked on one block and went down whatever web of channel connections it had, and then I was like, oh, okay, I'll make an account. And yeah, that and the ability to like save websites so well, just even like the auto preview for a web page, and I do a lot of web design work, that like kept me like on it and using it as like on a daily basis at this point.
Awesome. Well, if you have more questions, hopefully you have everyone's info now. You can follow them on Are.na or hit them up on Instagram, or you could apply to join Slack with us and chat them up there. But I think we are going to wrap the night up a little early than we had set out to. But we want to thank you all so much for sticking around and asking questions, blowing up the chat. We're really looking forward to doing more Can I Do You Something installments. I saw some shout outs to Notion in chat too. That's definitely on our radar. But like I said, we hope to see you in Slack, and we're sharing, if not already shared, some links for you to keep up with all things distant. In addition, just keep your eyes on our site. We are hoping to have this recording uploaded and the presentation shared either by the end of the week or early next week. And you'll be getting an event survey through Eventbrite. We're hoping to get feedback so we can keep doing these things and doing them better. But I think that's it for tonight. So thanks everyone, and hope the rest of your night and the rest of your week is a good one.